In this video, we are going to look at some strange sounds, recordings, and audios that are either unexplained or rather strange and creepy. Now people, I will not lie when I say I was up all last night. I did not get any sleep after the video that I made where these NASA astronauts that are supposedly anyway, stuck on the International Space Station heard some very bizarre sounds coming from the Starliner.
Alright, Butch, that one came through. It was kind of like a pulsing noise, almost like a sonar ping.
Now you may be saying, Minutes of Horror, what do you mean by supposedly? Of course these astronauts are stuck on the International Space Station. Well, I made a 16-minute video yesterday exploring the idea that maybe they are not and they never left Earth. But anyway, these NASA astronauts, they heard a very creepy sound on the Starliner, which sound like anywhere from somebody knocking on the Starliner to a heartbeat to sonar. Either way, it's a creepy concept. So last night I was up listening to other creepy, strange, and unexplained sounds, recordings, and audios that are found on the internet. So in this video, we are going to do just that. We are going to go ahead and look at 5 strange and disturbing audios that have been recorded. With that being said, let's go ahead and begin. Now I have to say, this audio or recording that I'm starting off with, I always found rather creepy. Also is the fact this never had a proper explanation. When Queen Elizabeth passed away, her coffin was seen traveling between Westminster Abbey and St. George's Chapel in Windsor, which racked up over 1.5 million views on Twitter alone. The footage taken from the air begins silently, but after a few seconds, a hoarse female voice can be heard whispering, before a male presenter can be heard talking. This voice actually throws off the male presenter for a few seconds.
That death is irreversible, and the fact that she's trapped.
As you can see, here in London, it is a lovely day, and as the hearse heads out into West London, Emily Morgan.
That death is irreversible, and the fact that she's trapped.
As you can see,
many people believe that was Princess Diana's disembodied voice that was heard in the recording.
Do you think you'll ever be queen?
No, I don't. No.
Why do you think that?
I'd like to be a queen of people's hearts, in people's hearts, but I don't see myself being queen of this country.
ITV, the station that broadcast this clip, still to this day refuses to comment on the clip. Fact checkers and other media are trying to give us a more logical explanation behind the clip by saying the sound was a guest of the broadcaster whose voice was picked up by the presenter's microphone. Even if that's the case, even if the guest speaker was picked up talking, what was the point behind saying the death is irreversible and the fact that she's trapped? Makes no sense whatsoever, in any normal conversation anyway. You may be aware of a certain sound captured in 1997 by researchers listening for underwater volcanic activity in the southern Pacific Ocean. This sound was massive, it was strange, and it was powerful, and it was called the bloop. But there was actually another sound captured on March 1st, 1999, 2 years later in the Pacific Ocean, that is named Julia. It is named Julia because they say it sounds like a human female. Sound, which was heard over the entirety of the Pacific Ocean, still to this day is unexplained. There's multiple theories. There is just no definite answer just to what this sound may be. What is also rather interesting, in any video where somebody plays this sound, in the comment section, people are reporting that their pets are reacting to the sound. Oilfield operator Chris Watts ending the lives of his family on August 13th, 2018 is a case I've spoken about once before on this channel in my Strange Coincidences video. At the exact same time that Chris Watts' cover is blown by this neighbor, on the TV you can see a commercial of a baby inside its mother's womb. Then the very next scene shows a skull and bodies buried in the ground of an oil field, with hands coming out of the ground. The odds of something like this happening at this exact same moment is so rare, I did not even want to count it as a coincidence, because Chris Watts did just that. He took his pregnant wife and their 2 kids and buried them in an oil field. But I also said in that video, as investigators were combing through the Watts home, they picked up some rather eerie and strange sounds that to this day are still unexplained. Matter of fact, you can see towards the end, it starts to freak out the investigators.
Well, there's plenty of first in here.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. What in the world is that in here?
Yes.
Yeah. Here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Henry McCabe's phone call to his wife Corrine on September 7th, 2015 will never not be strange and continues to this day to remain unexplained. In the recording, you can hear Henry yelling. You can also hear him say he's been shot, but you can't really make out much else. You can also hear what sounds like a very strange creature. Now, before this recording and before Henry McCabe went missing, he was seemingly having a good night with friends at a local club in Minnesota. According to the Minnesota spokesman recorder, he had hung out with his friend William Kennedy all day, and his friend had dropped him off at a gas station when they were done partying. The troubling voicemail happened afterward at around 2:28 a.m. On November 2nd, 2015, about 8 weeks after Henry McCabe disappeared, his body was found by a kayaker at Rush Lake, 6 miles from the gas station where his friend had dropped him off. Contrary to McCabe's voicemail message, there was nothing indicating that guns had been in play. There was no gunshot wounds on him at all. In fact, the medical examiner found no traces of any injuries, and his passing away was not viewed as suspicious. The cause of him passing away was never determined, and to this day the case remains open. 1 year ago in Brooklyn, New York, there was some strange and odd noise in the sky that was driving people absolutely crazy. And what's bizarre is that this is Brooklyn, New York we are talking about. This state is nothing but noise. So for this to stand out, this had to really been something. That is rather telling. This is what people were saying on the news when it came to this strange noise.
Mysterious sound heard through parts of Fort Greene, Brooklyn has been driving some people, we are told, crazy.
Yeah, it's maddening, it's unsettling, and it's also just this mystery because nobody seems to know what is causing this strange humming sound. CBS 2's Kevin Rincon gives us a listen.
It's profoundly annoying.
As you hear the noise, it's hard to make out what it is.
It sounds like somebody putting their finger on a glass cup and running it around the top of the cup.
It sounds very much like a resonance, a harmonic resonance, like if you can picture someone rubbing the top of a crystal glass or a tuning fork.
What is this sound? Mo Hussein, he took video walking home one night. He's noticed the sound for over a year.
I liken it to like some sort of alien invasion. As you're walking around, even in the middle of the night, you hear this hum off in the background and you wonder what could that be?
You know, I thought about that. And they're only landing in the middle of the night.
For Adrena Banks, her theory, it's construction related, but admits it could be anything.
It's just this consistent humming that doesn't seem to go away and goes on for hours. It's so piercing that it keeps you up.
Neighbors called 311, but when the city's Department of Environmental Protection showed up, the sound had stopped. We reached out to the DEP several times on Thursday, and they now say they plan to return to try and find the source of the nuisance.
As soon as you think, okay, well, now I've gotten used to it, now I'm ready to live my life with this noise, then it goes away. And you're like, oh, that's great, and then it comes back.
The timing of it makes me sort of believe that, at times anyway, makes me sort of believe that there's some sort of equipment being run, and they sort of try to turn it off and on in ways that don't disrupt people.
Some residents, they've turned to online forums to mark when the noise starts and stops, but tracking it isn't easy.
Like bass notes they disperse easily, but they're hard to pinpoint. And this sound has that quality of like, ooh, that's really hard to locate.
It's not just loss of sleep or an inconvenience. There are plenty of people here concerned that this could have larger psychological impacts, which is why they're hoping speaking out could help bring them some peace and quiet. In Fort Greene, Kevin Rincon, CBS 2 News.
Hope so.
It was beginning to drive me nuts, too.
Just in that short time and then living with it.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. I hope there's a remedy.
Thank you so much for watching. If you like this channel and you want to see more, please subscribe. If you're already subscribed, please like, as any engagement does help the channel grow. Once again, thank you so much for your support.